Am I the butthole for telling my brother's children why I treat them different from my Niblings? Throwaway account I, 47M, needs some perspective from people outside of the family and was recommended this place. So here's the story. Over 20 years ago I found out that my brother Joe, 45M, was sleeping with my then fiancée Kelly, female, 47. I literally caught them in my bed when I came home early and I did not respond well. My brother and ex apologized and begged for forgiveness, but I wanted nothing to do with them. A couple of months later Kelly found out that she was pregnant and admitted that she didn't know who the father was, so we took a DNA test when her child Amy, female, 23, was born. Joe was the dad, and because of that my parents decided to forgive Joe because they wanted to involve with their first grandchild. A part of me was hurt, but I didn't blame them and only asked that they respect that Joe was dead to me. Eventually, I married my wife Jane, 45, and we've created a great life for ourselves. Joe has tried to reconciliation and was denied every time. He wasn't invited to my wedding, he had to hear about the birth of my children from people. We was never welcome at my home, and the only time we were in a shared space was for funerals of mutual relatives, and I just avoided or tuned him out. A consequence of this was that I wasn't involved in the lives of his children Amy Jr., 20M, Val, female, 18, or Tim, 15M. My parents have never asked me to be present in the children's lives, but that have talked about them numerous times, and I can tell that they want me to be involved with them because they see how good I am to my Niblings on my wife's side. I have a small but lucrative business and set up college funds for each of them, taken them on big family vacations, example, Disney World, Hawaii, Argentina, etc., attended almost every special event, birthday and graduation, and agreed to be their guardians if my sister-in-law, wife's sister, or brother-in-law, wife's brother, were unable to. I guess the lack of attention and financial support is starting to get to Joe's children because 3/4 of them have asked why I'm not a part of their lives or seem to care about them. I explained that while I don't hate them, I don't really feel a familial connection, but it's not their fault. I was surprised when they asked why, because I thought, since all of them were either adults or almost an adult, that they would finally be told the truth. I told them what went down between their father and I all those years ago, and how there was no way I could be as attentive of an uncle to them without re-establishing some type of contact with Joe. That was not something that I was willing to do. I didn't hear from them, but about a week later I got an angry call from my mom saying that Joe's children are all upset with for getting cheated out of a better life. My mom said that I should have told her or my dad before telling them the truth, and how Amy's siblings are also blaming her too. It wasn't my intention to start a fight, I was just being honest without thinking about it. Am I the butthole? ETA, forgot to mention this earlier, but Amy is Joe and Kelly's only child together. Junior, Val, and Tim have a different mother. ETA 2, from my understanding all that was told to the children was that Joe and I got into a huge fight years ago and that I refused to accept his apology. They were fishing for more information and didn't understand what could have happened that was so bad that refused to even speak to his children if it wasn't illegal. ETA 3, I keep seeing the similar questions, so I will further explain. My parents don't know about the college fund, so there's no way they could have told Joe or his children. When Joe's children reached out, they said that they saw pictures of me with my family for special events, birthdays, vacations and other things, and wondered why I wouldn't do those things with them. I stopped hating Joe years ago, but that doesn't mean I love or trust him again, and never want him in my life for any reason. I am open to having a relationship with Joe's children if they want, but it will have to be without their father being involved in any way. Something that would not have been possible while they were growing up. Because they were all minors. Kelly and Joe were never romantically involved and said that what they did was just physical and it resulted with a child. Not the butthole, and they do not miss their uncle, they miss the uncle's wallet. Original poster replies. To be fair, they don't know about the college funds, and they mostly inquired about me not attending birthdays or family events when they're not around. Are you sure about that? Do you really think your parents or cheating brother and sister-in-law haven't lamented about the trips to Disneyland, expensive presents etc. in front of them? That when things get tough the parents don't bemoan about rich uncle etc. They're not going to directly say where's our expensive gifts. Trust me, no one cares that much about an uncle they've never met, and certainly they wouldn't say cheated us out of a better life if no one's told them. They know, and that's why they're desperate enough to push the matter. I would place a small wager that your parents put them up to this, hoping hearing from the kids themselves would magically change your mind. I don't think we need to insult these kids and speculate about their motivations. They are not at fault for the actions of their father. Original poster replies. Agreed. While I don't know them very well, I don't see them as bad kids, just maybe kids who are upset. Upset children can easily react irrationally, and it's very mature of you to acknowledge that. Not the butthole, and best of luck however you decide to move forward. Trust me, no one cares that much about an uncle they've never met. I met my uncle, Dad's brother, several years ago, because he didn't know he had a 20-something-year-old nephew. Meeting him wasn't motivated by money at all, but just to have a familial connection. Not every kid is the same, and these kids saying they got cheated out of a better life is pretty suspect, but many people are genuinely curious to meet family members that haven't been in their lives for one reason or another. I for sure felt cheated out of normal family relationships that everyone else seemed to have. I craved extended family and was foolishly mad at the wrong people for a while. My mom wasn't at fault for the estrangement from her sibling, but my dad was at fault for the estrangement from his siblings. I wanted aunts and uncles. I wanted to know my cousins. I wanted them at special events. I wanted them to care about me. I wanted vacations, even if it was just camping at the local lake. I wanted family BBQs. Honestly, I wasn't over it until I graduated college. It really did suck to only have your parents and no extended family. I was crazy jealous of my friends who had extended family members active in their lives. Original poster replies. It's true, I can never be 100% sure, but they told me that they saw a bunch of pictures on social media of previous trips and events I've taken with my Niblings and children. Then what's this better life they feel like they're missing out on? It's kind of strange that they're that desperate for an uncle. Then what's this better life they feel like they're missing out on? They don't. Their grandparents do. My stepdaughter asked me once why I call my grandmother once a week, and told me she wished she had a life where she could call her grandma every week. Said it seemed like a better life. Kids get weird ideas in their heads, and then grow up thinking they missed out. We do miss out. Don't you think anyone's life would be better with a good uncle involved? Someone who can be a mentor, role model, or even just someone who will be there for you. Just saying, I would feel cheated if I was denied a relationship with my uncles because of something my mom and or dad did. Looking at some of the other comments, are you sure? The cheated out of a better life statement either comes directly from your mom, which means maybe she said something about your Niblings on the other side, or the Niblings on the other side know. I think maybe other family members may have told them, or if you didn't hear it from them directly, it may just be manipulation. I wouldn't really blame them for that. When you're adolescent, you might not have the strongest bond with your parents or any other family member because you're in a phase where you only care about them when they can give you things, permission, money, vacations, lend you a car, extend your curfew, you want. Not the butthole. Joe and Kelly know exactly why their children are not treated as you treat your other nieces and nephews. Instead of being honest with their children, they obviously have pretended that they don't know why. You told them the truth, because their parents' actions are directly responsible for this situation. You cannot be held responsible for what Joe and Kelly did or did not want to share. They're now reaping the consequences of their actions. It sucks for Amy, because she is innocent in all of this. It's wrong to blame her, and her siblings are being selfish. You have no responsibility to Joe, Kelly, or any of their children. Original poster replies. To be fair, Amy is Joe and Kelly's only child together. Oh, okay, so Amy is actually a half-sibling to the other three. So they, the other siblings, are blaming her because she's Kelly's and Joe's daughter, and they think if she wasn't around, then they would be on the receiving end of your generosity. You know, that's just awful. I really do feel badly for her. It's so unfair of them to act entitled to your generosity, but blaming Amy for her parents' actions is unacceptable. Kelly and Joe made this mess. Now Amy is suffering because they couldn't be honest. Or, you know, decent people to begin with. What a mess. Still, it's not your responsibility to clean up after them. It's just in crap show, but I don't see how telling the truth could have been avoided, on your part. There is a reason you cannot accept these kids as family. It's not their fault, but it's the reality they need to accept. This is ridiculous. Even if Amy had never been born, the fact that original poster's brother slept with original poster's then fiancé was the reason all the kids are cut out. The one that should be blamed for all of it is their father and his ex-fiancé. It's so unfair of them to act entitled to your generosity, but blaming Amy for her parents' actions is unacceptable. We really only have original poster's mother's word for it that that's what they're doing, and she has a dog in this fight for making original poster feel guilty. Looks like it's what it's taken for Joe to step up to the consequences of his actions and own what he did. He has created this situation. He's broken one of the simplest rules of don't be a dick. Now he has to live with that. No buttholes here, except Joe and Kelly, who are the real buttholes here. Your feelings are understandable. The kids' feelings are understandable. They likely feel they're being punished for a crime they didn't commit, and your mom is just trying to pull out fires. Not the butthole. ETA 2. From my understanding, all that was told to the children was that Joe and I got into a huge fight years ago and that I refused to accept his apology. Saying you guys got into a fight implies that both of you were to blame for what happened. If he was actually remorseful, what he could have said was, I did something very bad a long time ago and my brother hasn't forgiven me. I didn't hear from them, but about a week later I got an angry call from my mom saying that Joe's children are all upset with for getting cheated out of a better life. My mom said that I should have told her or my dad before telling them the truth, and how Amy's siblings are also blaming her too. I'm guessing your parents were in on the lie being told to the kids. She probably wanted you to tell her first, so she could either try to stop you or get ahead of the narrative. Even if it was to protect Amy, they shouldn't have lain about who was at fault for the estrangement. Joe and Kelly are biggest a-holes, but your parents are on thin ice. You did nothing wrong. That's what I was thinking as well. It's even worse, since he refused to accept my apology, makes original poster sound like the bad guy in the situation. Seems to me like his brother only cares about himself. Not the butthole. They're not entitled to anything from you, and it sounds like they think they are. Maybe since they're adults it would be nice to reconnect, but you don't owe them a damn thing. Especially if they're demanding back payments on vacations, etc. It's truly crazy how nowadays doing something nice for someone means that everyone has to be entitled to the same. Original poster said that the kids didn't know about the money. They asked about birthday parties and family events. Info: who was the person telling your brother's kids that you were splashing your money about on your other nieces/nephews? Because that person is the butthole. Evidently the issue isn't the money. They apparently aren't aware of all that. The issue is that original poster is not exactly present in their lives, such as birthdays or graduations, or anything where their father may be involved. I don't buy it. If original poster only saw Joe at funerals and stayed away from him, I'm guessing someone tips the kids about the trips and expensive vacations. No kid would really care that much about an uncle they would have barely ever talked to. I wouldn't say that. If one of my parents had a sibling that wasn't family, I would eventually get really curious as to why. Not true. Many kids want to have relationships with their aunts and uncles regardless of money. Edit: I am one who has no relationship with mine because my parents suck. Original poster replies: my parents don't know about the college funds, but they said they saw photos of me and my Niblings through my wife on social media. Not the butthole. What is it with family members thinking they are entitled to financial support? Would they have been begging as much for a relationship if you were a pauper? No, it's not their fault, but it is their father's fault. Not the butthole. All that was told to the children was that Joe and I got into a huge fight years ago and that I refused to accept his apology. The wording in the explanation Joe/your parents gave the kids places all the blame on you, i.e. you didn't accept his apology. Tell your parents to keep your personal information, like how you spend your money, to themselves. You don't have a relationship with Joe, so neither he or his kids need to be privy to that information. It's drama mongering. I'm going to say no buttholes here. Your other Niblings of course are going to feel slighted and ignored because of the actions of their parents. I'm surprised that they were not told when they became adults why their uncle was so cold to them. Even as kids, they could have been told something like, "Uncle, Mommy and Daddy used to be friends, but now we are not, so we don't have a relationship." Or something age appropriate instead of just letting them languish in the idea they were hated for something about them personally. Joe and Kelly messed up big time. Original poster replies. From what I could gather, they were told that Joe and I got into a huge fight and that's why I'm not involved. No mention Amy's mom. You can nip it in the bud. No need to blame Amy, as it's Joe who has caused the estrangement, and even if Amy was never there, the estrangement would have continued. The half-siblings are out of order to blame Amy for it. Not the butthole. You don't owe them anything, least of all keeping things secret. They made a nasty choice, it has repercussions. Tough noogies for them. Not the butthole, super telling that they're bothered on missing out of vacations, parties and college funds. If they really wanted a relationship, they could have reached out at 18 independent of their parents, although I understand why they didn't. Not the butthole. While it sucks for them to not have had the familial relationship with you, it's understandable. Your parents are completely out of line for blowing up for you telling Joe's adult children the truth. They're the ones who have been unwilling to expand on what they told them as children when they were older. So Joe blew up your engagement, and therefore your family, for a fling? Good choice, bro. I roll. Original poster replies. Yep. Original poster replies. Yes. What in the holy F is a Nibling? Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.